You know, the story of how this all got started. At 15 years old, my dad went to work for a company called E.N. Dobson and Sons. So he worked for them for 10 years. He went to work for them when he was 15. And when he was 25, he notified his boss, Dick, who was also a very close friend and mentor to my dad, that he thought that in the spring he probably would go off on his own. Patriots Day, is what we've always been told, was the first day of our Risbara construction. And at the time, my mother and father were 25 and 24 years old, respectively. Had three boys. Myself, my brother Bill, my brother Mark. Mark was basically a newborn at the time. And my dad always said that he had $400 in cash. He had a brand new skill saw, and he had a pretty good truck that was only a couple of years old. And he had lined up a little bit of work, and he decided to go off on his own. And my grandfather, who worked for the railroad, had been working for the railroad running a crane for them for some 30-odd years, took a couple of weeks off in April, and they went and they got started on a small project. And my dad always told the story that the railroad finally called my grandfather and said, "Look, you got to come back to work, or you're not going to work for the railroad anymore." And so my dad always told the story that Friday when they went home after work, he had no idea whether my grandfather was going to go back to the railroad on Monday or not. He hadn't made up his mind. And Monday morning came, and my father showed up on the job, and my grandfather was already there. And he said, "What about the railroad?" And my grandfather said, "I told the railroad to shove it." And he continued to work with my father for about another 5 or 6 years. I guess in 1973, I guess my grandfather officially retired at that point in time. And so he was, he was pleased to work with his son. And my father always had a lot of drive and determination. And he had my mother, was right there behind him, 100%. This company would not be here without her, for sure. So she helped him quite a lot. Years went by, and they had some success. And he recognized that, if they could not only build these houses, but if they had some real estate sales, would help. And so my mother went and got a real estate license and started a real estate office. And they worked together, and my mother and her staff of brokers would sell the houses, and my dad would build them, meet with customers. They did a lot of custom stuff. A lot of people don't realize that my mother was the first female president of the Portland Board of Realtors. And as I said earlier, she was an ass kicker when she needed to be. She was soft-spoken most of the time, but she was all about getting things done and getting things done right. So together they made a great team, and really built the business to what it is today.
My first memory of working for my dad, I think I was 8, and my brothers were 10 and 12, and we used to sweep up all of his apartment units after the electricians got done.
Always out on sites with my grandfather too. There's one I particularly remember right out behind my parents' house where I grew up, and just remember them putting a road in and the bulldozers moving and just sort of the whole thing. Watching it happen as a young kid, it's pretty cool.
One of my fondest memories was my father had purchased a couple truckloads of brick from a building in Portland, brought it to our pit. And it was old brick, so he had to chip the old mortar off the brick. And he was going to pay my brother and I $5 a pallet to stack brick. So Rocky and I were pretty excited. We went up to the hardware store with my father. He bought us each a hatchet, a pair of goggles, and a pair of gloves. And we went down and we worked our butts off for 2 days. Got 4 pallets done, $20, $10 a piece. Pretty excited. So we go to my father and say, "You owe me $20. And he says, "Yeah, $20, you got 4 pallets done." And he took the receipt out for the gloves, took the receipt out for the hatchets, took the receipt out for the goggles, and the 2 Italian sandwiches we ate in the 2 days in a row. We ended up with $2. That was one of my favorite.
I think the biggest reason that I feel that this company is different to work for is the sense of family that they give everybody. They include your family in all sorts of different things. If there's a picnic going on, the whole family's invited, not just, you know, yourself as an employee. And they're looking for everyone to succeed. It's a big part of them. They take pride in everyone succeeding, including themselves, but they want everyone in the company to succeed along with them.
We've got a great team of employees. A lot of them have been with us a lot of years, and their family too. I mean, if you work for us for 3 or 4 years, your family. It just happens, and you know, it's great to be able to work together, work with your brothers, work with family members, and see the result. You know, we work hard. We employ a lot of people.
Without employees, you have no company. We strive to help them in any way we can. There's certain perks to the job. We feel it's very important to hold them close because they are the company.
So yeah, working with my family is it's tough at times, but we have a lot of fun. We're all really close, so at the end of the day, it's just one big happy family.
The day on the job with the old man definitely started early. As soon as you got to site, there was no downtime. He was a real stickler for making sure the machines were cleaned out, the track shoveled, greased, and fueled at the beginning of the day so that there was no reason to stop during the day. The machines could roll all day. And he was really focused on equipment, but also on making it do the most it could.
The old man was probably one of the most unique person or people that I'd ever met in my life, hands down. He was a very driven person, constantly. At days, I have no idea where he got his energy to be as driven as he was, but he would go and go and go, and work circles around most of the young guys most of the time. The old man stories just go forever. They really do. It was always a love-hate relationship with most people that worked for him, and he could make you laugh at the end of the day after whipping you back all day long, and you felt appreciated every time that you worked with him. Even after being whipped all day long. It was just one of those things that he could always make you feel great. He'd buy you coffee and donuts in the morning, and then he'd whip you all day, and at the end of the day he'd come and say thank you, and you'd say to yourself, boy, that was a good day. And it always seemed like a good day working with him.
My parents would be very proud of the fact that we've employed as many people as we've had. We've had the success that we've had with our projects and success with our employees, and that meant a lot to them.
I feel that they would be very proud of where my brothers and I have brought the company over the last few years. They would be very proud.
My parents would be excited, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they're up there pushing the stars around and lining them all for us and helping us make it happen. They'd be really excited to see the apartments going. They'd be really excited about the Scarborough Downs project. I think they're up there helping us. They're there every day. I say hi to them every morning when I walk in the door.
My hope for the future of the company is that it can continue, obviously. We've got a good crew, and they've been empowered to make decisions and run the company. And
my hope is that the company continues on, and to the extent that some of these younger guys around here want to bring it for the next 50 years, God bless them. I hope my grandson works here someday. I hope my grandnephew works here someday. That's my hope.
Who's the most handsome brother? Me. My mother told me that.
Ha! It's pretty obvious, me. Rocky's gonna say it's him, but it's not.
Me? That's a great question. So Mom was in her hospital bed. We have a hospital bed, and Mom was in her hospital bed, and all three of us were kind of laying around her, and we were holding her hand, and Billy says, "Mom, you can let us know now, really, which one's the most handsome?" And we all three at the same time went, "Oh, you squeezed my hand too hard." She was a wonderful woman.
Creating their biggest subdivision to date in 2015, Westbrook's Blue Spruce Farm neighborhood, building, selling, and leasing 51 single-family homes and 256 apartments in a 30-month time frame. 2 new partnerships with the Michoud families, M&R Holdings and Crossroads Development, allowed for the purchase of Scarborough Downs in January 2018. It is with great pride that they are about to start developing into this true legacy project. This new project will ensure a bright future for Risbara Bros construction for years to come.